Superstorm Sandy hit the New York region in 2012. A short time after that, our then Mayor Bloomberg said, "We will rebuild, and we will rebuild on our waterfront." Although climate change was on some people's mind, it was really not evident in the built environment. The Living Breakwaters project is a model for climate adaptive infrastructure. And the reason why I think it's potentially interesting, it's not trying to solve one problem, it's trying to reset this regenerative cycle.
Kate and her company has designed a 700-meter-long set of breakwaters near the shoreline of Staten Island. It's like a pile of rocks that cumes the waves, so they protect the shoreline. The breakwaters provide scaffolding on which the oysters can build up reefs, and as time goes, they grow up and become nature storm barriers.
When I was a child, there was still this kind of sense that nature had a hold with migrating warblers and, tortoises and turtles in the backyard. I think probably like anybody who is raising children in the world today, I feel like there's a sense of loss about what was. So I'm mostly sad or afraid for my children because, I don't feel like they are going to experience that.
The south and east shore of Staten Island were really hard hit during the Hurricane Sandy. And part of that is because all of the wind and wave energy really funneled surge and waves through this, which we call the New York Bight. Homes were destroyed, not just by having water, but being knocked off their foundation.
It'll be very small. But okay, so if this is Manhattan, then this is down here, Staten Island. So our project is down here.
So the breakwater design is really designed to step down risk, not to fully keep the water out, but to take out the most damaging components. These are large pieces of infrastructure, but ecologically enhancing infrastructure. So they are large rubble mound structures, mostly constructed of rock.
So basically, on the breakwaters themselves, you can see that here in the drawing, we have these unique low pH e-concrete units. They're kind of an artificial rock, but it's an artificial rock that's intended to just accelerate the oyster reef creation. Eventually, I think what's exciting is that, the natural rock and this kind of artificial form of rock are going to be kind of growing together and becoming a new hybrid or a new synthesis of sort of human-made nature. But then up in the intertidal area where you have, water up and down, we have tide pool units. So if you're out there, you can see basically these filling with water, and then they stay full of water, and then when the tide goes down, you have these little rich marine micro ecosystems that take hold. One facet of the project that is indicating this total paradigm shift is that rather than cities and the wilderness, something that we go out and see, it's really, setting this new frame for our relationship to nature and actively bring natural systems back. The Living Breakwaters project is not just an object, it's not just a thing, it's really an initiative. It's a project that is kind of nudging people to think about the environment as infrastructure. Think about the ecosystems that we've taken for granted as a kind of form of protection, and reconsider and value them for their protective benefit. Yeah, when we first walked with some of the Tottenville neighbors, we brought a big map, that showed the beach and et cetera, and they were like, well, this beach, this used to go out 50 feet here. Right. And they would say, see that light pole that's in the water? That used to be on land. So, just describing a changing shoreline and the erosion that's been happening.
Well, there used to be a lot of fish here, long time ago. I'm not a green guy per se, although I do work on big green projects. But oysters are the way to go. It'll clean up the water, it'll create a habitat, and it may even create food at some point. I mean, if they're going to be cleaning the water, at some point, they're going to create...
We had our wake-up call with Superstorm Sandy in 2012, but real change in terms of change of mindset, change of paradigm, change of perception. I think presumably these changes take generations. We have to work much, much faster. We need to think about unbuilding. We have to look at finance, insurance, and tie all of these complex pieces. We have to unmake them and snip them and understand how to actually change.